And then there's ambiguity that threatens our sense of safety in the relationship,
Yeah.
that um, touches on something we deeply care about, something we really want, or something that we're afraid of happening.
Yeah.
And that kind of ambiguity is really expensive. What do I mean by expensive? I mean, it is energetically expensive.
Hello, dear companions. Welcome back to the Experience of We. I'm Matthew.
I'm Naomi.
You may wonder why I'm speaking so slowly and deliberately. Well, I'm not going to leave you in relational ambiguity about that. All right, I'm gonna be explicit. This is a topic that is emotional for me and Naomi, because in our observations and lived experience, relational ambiguity is a very costly phenomenon to have in our relationships. It can be toxic, it can be dangerous to the connection. We have suffered relationally and lost relationships based on ambiguity. We and our companions have hurt over ambiguity. We imagine that you too, if you stop and reflect on it, have experienced relational disruption around ambiguity.
And sometimes it's the obvious disruption, like relationships falling apart based on misunderstandings. Other times it's less obvious damage that is just kind of feeling unfulfilled by the relationship. Feeling like there's more that we want from our relationships, but we don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about relational ambiguity, we want to be clear that there are different kinds of ambiguity. There's pleasurable ambiguity, like novelty. That can be something like, what's Matthew going to get me for my birthday?
Or what's the movie that we're about to go see going to be like?
Yeah,
We're about to go to a movie,
yeah.
which is why that's on our mind. We hope to be pleasantly surprised by the movie.
Indeed.
Novelty. Yeah.
There and there is ambiguity that is inherent in relationship. That is, we're all evolving, changing beings who will show up different ways over the years, who will continue to grow and change together.
Yep.
And then there's ambiguity that threatens our sense of safety in the relationship,
Yeah.
that touches on something we deeply care about, something we really want, or something that we're afraid of happening.
Yeah.
And that kind of ambiguity is really expensive. What do I mean by expensive? I mean, it is energetically expensive. So the nervous system, which has the capacity to keep us calm and engaged, to keep us activated and energized and engaged,
Like for that movie.
like for that movie.
I feel activated about the movie, but you know, not dysregulated.
Yes, which is another thing our nervous system has the capacity to do. And our nervous system is basically a predictive engine. It's consistently in the process of taking in sensory data, interpreting that sensory data, forming a sense of the world and ourselves around it, making predictions about what's going to happen based on that sensory data, and then encountering more sensory data and updating and going through the process again, rapidly ad infinitum.
One of the fascinating aspects of being a conscious being is that our nervous systems and brains are predictive engines that are trying to figure out both what's happening now, make sense of what's already happened, and also try to predict what's happening in the next moment, and the further out we can predict, the safer or less safe we can feel.
Exactly, because being in ambiguity about the future, that's one a lot of humans know we struggle with, is ambiguity about the future.
Yeah.
Being in ambiguity about relationship, um, keeps this feedback loop open. We get to the point where it's time to predict what happens next, and we're not really sure. We can't with confidence say that any one of the many things that could happen next is going to happen. And when that happens with high stakes things, our our nervous system then tries to hold all of those possible realities at once, tries to keep open, okay, well, if this happens in the relationship, if I say this thing and they react this way, then I'll handle it like this. And if
Right.
they react this way, then I'll need to handle it like this. And if it goes this way, I'll need to handle it a third way.
Right, right. And so it starts out as this sort of multiplicity of things that might be happening. And then our mind tries to narrow down the range of possibilities of what might be happening down to something that seems feasible. And the more ambiguity, as our brain can't close down the realm of possibilities, it takes more energy from us. It can be draining to not know what's happening in our relationship.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It really can be. And a lot of relationships are there right now. Right now, in a more extreme way than in the past. And what I mean by that is right now, we all have the capacity to exist within different internet subcultures, like different value systems and what words mean. And like we
Yeah.
can live in a house with people and exist in different subcultures on the internet with different perspectives and different valuations of things,
Yeah.
different language.
Yeah. One household, multiple realities.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And even personally now with AI, we can all have a custom AI that reinforces our biases and keeps us all in slightly different realities.
Yeah. And that is a big danger, by the way, of AI, is that, man, it can take you down a rabbit hole of your own biases, and like we're not anti-AI, to be clear. We just think it's a very powerful tool that needs to be stewarded responsibly. But
And we actually, by the way, if that's something you care about and you want to check out, we have a guide on our GitHub about how we might invite people to orient to their relationships with their AI companions.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's another example of a way that our information technologies can pull us into different realities where we try to solve the ambiguity on our own without involving our companions.
Exactly, exactly. I'm looking at my notes here, by the way. Some notes. Uh, and again, holding those positions of ambiguity is energetically expensive. Holding open the multiple realities is energetically expensive. And so we try to reflexively, this often happens reflexively before we've even noticed it happening. We try to collapse the ambiguity into something more certain. And so we might catastrophize and believe that someone's definitely unhappy with me
Right.
when I don't actually know that. That's something I've done a lot.
Yep, the worst is happening.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. We might try to control or demand an immediate answer.
Yeah. Yep. Like try to close a certainty by making certainty happen.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We might also just avoid the conversation, avoid directly asking the thing that we're concerned about or that we don't quite know.
Yeah, I think in current US culture, that is one of the most prevalent orientations to ambiguity. Just don't talk about it. Just don't
Yes,
talk about it.
yes, in US culture, that is so prevalent.
Yep.
And what happens then is that we go from sort of taking on the risk of talking about the ambiguous thing, the are you mad at me? Or what did you really mean when you said love? Um,
Yeah, when you said you love me,
yeah,
what exactly did you mean by love? Yeah,
yeah.
that's a big one.
We avoid having the vulnerable conversation, the risky conversation. And so instead of having the risk of ambiguity in a moment, we internalize the ambiguity into the relationship. And the relationship becomes riskier
Mhm.
because we entrench patterns, we get deeper into each other's lives.
Yeah.
And then the unknown becomes like more pervasive in the relationship.
Yeah, so using the love example,
Hmm.
I know that I have had experiences where someone said, I love you. And my internal interpretation was, you don't really love me. You don't really love me. And now I start taking the actions of someone who believes that someone who says that they love me doesn't really love me. And they don't know that those are the actions I'm taking. Might seem at times I might act in ways that they don't understand because I'm operating in a different reality about what love meant when they said it.
Yes. Yes. Oh man, that's really happened with me too. Or alternately, someone assuming that my warmth meant something, meant that I had a kind of love or romance that I didn't. This is a pervasive feminine wound that deserves its own video that I want to make. It deserve, but I want to make a
Yeah.
video about it.
Yo, me too.
Yeah, the experience of there being relational ambiguity, maybe my warmth being perceived according to what someone wants or what they fear.
Hmm. Happens on the masculine side too.
Man, it really does.
And that's its whole video, I think.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Projections of romantic feelings in the place of that ambiguity.
Before I had romantic feelings for you, you believed I had romantic feelings for you.
I did because I was afraid he had romantic feelings for me.
Right. And I came up front and said, I don't currently have romantic feelings for you.
And I was like, I can't believe that.
So I tried to clear up the relational ambiguity, but it didn't work.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because in fact, I'd had it happen before where someone was in a relationship with me, said they didn't have romantic feelings for me, and then that unfolded in our relationship.
Like it wasn't true.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's could be its own video.
Yeah, right. So one thing to say about these relational ambiguities is we often reflexively jump to a conclusion to avoid the metabolic cost of the uncertainty. We often reflexively come to a conclusion that it's either the thing that we want to be true or the thing that we're afraid of being true.
Yeah.
And then we just start acting like based on that conclusion, figuring it out privately on our own, which we don't actually have the person's data.
Yeah, yeah. And so rather than having, so we want to reduce the cost of the ambiguity because that's a real metabolic cost that our bodies are unconsciously and reflexively trying to close that loop. And then we might close that loop internally in a way that may or may not be true to avoid having the conversation, the potentially vulnerable and awkward conversation of clearing up the ambiguity, making it explicit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And when this happens, I'm like looking at my notes. I'm just gonna look at my notes on the
Do
camera,
it.
like not look
Do
away
it.
from it.
Yeah.
Like there aren't notes here. There's notes
There's
here.
totally notes
I'm
here.
gonna look at them.
Yeah.
Um, right. And so one thing that we want to be clear about here is that we're not advocating for an experience of eliminated uncertainty.
Yeah.
Uncertainty is a part of relationships. As we said earlier, when someone grows and changes, there's going to be uncertainty.
Yeah. When someone's body goes through its natural life cycle, and I'm 51, I'm experiencing the phenomenon that's known as andropause,
There's an andropause.
and I don't have a choice about that. Like I can adapt to it, but I'm changing in certain ways, and so we have to be with the uncertainty of what that change means down the road and for our relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's sort of a baked in uncertainty. And similarly, There are there are uncertainties that are best answered by being able to be with not having the same experience.
Mm,
And so, for example,
mm,
when Matthew and I, our romantic relationship was blossoming, um, for a variety of complicated personal experiences that are best reserved for another video, um, I was not having the experience, the visceral, conscious experience of having romantic feelings for Matthew.
right. So just to be clear, when we started out, neither of us had romantic feelings for each other. I told Naomi I did not have romantic feelings for her. She did not believe me. It was true at the time. However, as time went on, I developed romantic feelings for
Yes.
Naomi. And so now there was this ambiguity about that came up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
Hmm.
And when it finally came up, we had a very lovely conversation that we often harken back to together. We'll tell the story sometime, where where we basically established a shared reality that Matthew had romantic feelings for me, and that I didn't for him.
Hmm. Yep.
And
And that produced a kind of ambiguity.
yeah,
Well, what do we do
yep,
with that?
yep.
Hmm.
And so then we talked about what we do. We talked about both of our boundaries. We both had some boundaries that night.
Hmm.
We talked about our like expectations. Matthew talked about how he was going to surrender to taking the actions of love within my boundaries
Yeah.
towards me.
Without attachment to your feelings changing.
Exactly. And that was like, oh, wait, now I think I might have romantic feelings. That's what happened. But that was a real like master move as someone who had dated a number of people. That was a very self-aware move. So the the thing that we are advocating for here isn't reducing isn't getting rid of relational ambiguity,
Yeah, can't eliminate it.
but being able to be with distinction in our perspectives,
Hmm.
without feeling like, and now the relationship's ruptured, and now
Yeah.
we're separate.
Hmm.
And so, can we come to a shared story that addresses the ambiguity?
Hmm.
Can the ambiguity be metabolized, digested in connection,
Yeah.
and create a situation where now we both know what we mean by boundaries? We
Hmm.
both know what we mean by community, by
Yep.
commitment.
Yep. We don't know where our relationship is going to go in the uncertainty, but we can be certain about our values around it, our boundaries around it, and so our boundaries and our values and our shared understanding carries the weight of the ambiguity, so that we don't have to close the loop.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, that. And um, the experience of as a relational system, one of the things it does is provide structures for noticing and tending to those ambiguities, like attuning, getting a sense of what each other is genuinely feeling, calibrating, understanding, making sure our sort of mental models of each other and what we want align with each other,
And our actions. I think that's a big part of it.
developing a shared story, making sure that our story includes both of our perspectives,
And aligns with a shared reality.
having practices and processes for proactively addressing dissonance, repairing rupture. All of these are practices that reduce ambiguity, that that reduce the background energetic spend on keeping many different realities open. So they return energy to us, they build safety in the relationship, and then they open the door for greater relational possibility. More becomes possible when we address the basic ambiguities.
Yes. And so by having these processes, as you were naming, knowing that we can resolve a dissonance, knowing that we can repair a rupture in the relationship, creates a felt sense of safety that if ambiguity leads to something challenging, we know we can overcome it with these
Yes.
processes. And so it is easier to live with the uncertainty when it comes up, make it explicit, hold it as necessary.
Be an ongoing conversation about it.
If we know that the relationship is solid in its processes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so, as an invitation, sort of putting a foot in the water of directly addressing ambiguity, we'd invite you to try to notice when you're having an experience of relational ambiguity. So here's an example. This is a common one. You might notice it because it's happened to both of us a lot.
Oh God, this one. This one.
Which is not being sure when the hangout's supposed to be over.
Or not knowing when you're supposed to leave the hangout.
Right, or not being sure when to get off the phone call.
Right. There's this moment will come where it feels like everything's kind of over, but the other person isn't. What am I supposed to do? And so, man, I've been in so many social experiences that felt like they dragged on longer than either of us wanted them to, because neither of us knew how to end the time together. And we also didn't want to have the awkward conversation about how to end the time together. And, just God, it's so stressful. And it's easier if you establish a pattern with someone, and we're doing this in our lives with people, is saying, hey, I notice it seems like our energy is down and we might want to close up soon. How do you feel about that? It was awkward to say that at first, but now it's like, so much easier than wondering.
Yeah.
And the ambiguity becomes uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. And so we'd invite you to notice if you ever have moments like that in your life, if you feel safe in the relationship, maybe try introducing the conversation. Hey, I noticed that sometimes it's hard for me to tell when to draw our hangout to a close, and I'd like to experiment with doing it based on my felt sense of energy. How do you feel about that?
Or, man, I didn't hear what you just said. I got distracted by the TV up in the sports bar. Could you repeat what you said? Like, I looked away, I lost presence. Or, man, I just didn't understand what you said. Like, I heard words, but it's my brain translated it as rah, rah, rah. And I'm just saying, instead of saying, you know what? I really didn't understand what you said. Can you repeat it?
That has happened so much to me.
Yeah.
That has happened so much to me. So those are some common examples of ambiguity, and we invite you, see if you notice those or any other ambiguities in your relationship, and if you feel safe, try bringing it up, see how it goes.
Yep.
And so we are happy, as always, to have you here with us, genuinely.
Yeah, we do not take your time and attention for granted. Attention is a scarce resource these days, so we are grateful for it.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye for now.